Mr. Pimet, also known as Re, a math and science tutor. So today I'll do mathematics for grade 12. So yesterday I uploaded a video of trigonometry where you have to prove the identities. So today I'll do another question for trigonometry, but it's different one. It's actually a mix of trigonometry. Okay, so I took a question paper from June exams, so it's a June exam paper 2023 paper 2. So I'll do question 5. Okay, so on question 5, number 1, it says, without using a calculator, simplify the following expression to a single trigonometry ratio, and it's 5 marks. Okay, so let me write it here. It's 1. Remember, this is number 1. So here it's 1 minus sine negative alpha cos 90 degree plus all over cos I think it's theta. Theta minus 360 degree. So, and it's 5 marks. Okay, so we have to simplify this into a single trigonometric ratio. Okay, so first step, we'll say, okay, here we have 1, but here it's negative sign. Actually, this part only. Okay, let me use a pencil. This part only. I exclude that negative. This part only is negative sign. Remember from our reciprocals, it's negative sign. The one for positive is the one for cos only. If we have cos, then we have that bracket and negative theta, then it's positive cos. Only for cos, but for sine it's negative. Okay, so when it is negative, which means, okay, here I don't forget my sign, but on my brackets I'll have a negative sine theta. You see, so, and here I have cos 90 plus theta. So this will change to sine, remember, but it will change to negative sine theta, because here it is not 90 minus, but it is 90 plus. So it will change from negative sine theta. Okay, all over. Now here we have cos theta minus 360. So when it is like this, whether here it is plus or minus, our cos will be positive. Even if it is sine, it will be positive. Even if it was tan, it was going to be positive, because like if we have theta plus or minus, whether it's plus or minus 360, our answer will be positive. I hope you understand. Okay, so here we have cos theta, it's positive, like I said. Okay, so right now, okay, I see in my denominator I have negative sign, okay, so if I multiply those two, a negative multiplied by a negative is positive, so which means here I will have 1 minus this, and this is positive, so which means I will have positive sine squared, because they are two signs, and when you multiply the same base, you add the exponents. You see, it was very important to know the law of exponents back there, like on your previous grades. So it was very, very important. So here we will have our denominator here is cos theta. My steps might be very long because I show every step, okay? So I make sure I don't skip anything. Even when I'm busy with my tutis, I make sure that I don't skip any step, okay? So here is the same as -1 and here it's positive, which means negative multiplied by positive is negative, which means here we'll have 1 minus sine squared theta over cos theta, okay? So remember our question says we should simplify this to a single trigonometric ratio, okay? So since then here we have cos and here we have 1 minus sine squared theta, we can change this into cos squared theta, okay? Remember, sine squared plus cos squared is equals to 1. So if you make cos squared the subject of the formula, it will be 1 minus sine squared, okay? So we'll have to write this and say it is cos squared theta over cos theta, okay? So after this step, since here on my numerator I have square and on my denominator I only have one cos, which means I will subtract the exponent, so it will be 2 minus 1, so I will be left with cos theta. So that's how you should do it. Then you'll get full marks, 5 marks. In this way I simplify it into a single trigonometric ratio, okay? So number 2 says, actually this question, it was question 5, so 5.2, this one was 5.1. so 5.2 says, okay, we are given cos 20 degree is equals to P, okay? You did this question back there, I think starting from grade 10 if I'm not wrong, but remember trick for grade 12, there are some new things, okay? So you should be aware. So we are given that, and 5.2.1 they say, okay, without a calculator, write each of the following in terms of P. In terms of P means your answer will have P somewhere. So don't solve for P. Solve in terms of P. Okay? So we are given, okay, before I can do 5.2.1 and the rest, when you are given this, before you answer any question, remember here we are given P, right? So we'll have to say P over 1, because any number divided by 1 is the same number. Any letter divided by 1 is the same letter, okay? So as we know that cos it's adjacent over hypotenuse, and remember from our triangle here, opposite this here, adjacent this here, hypotenuse is here. So for cos it's adjacent over hypotenuse, which means it's x over r, but I don't know the value of y, but I have to calculate it, you see. So when I calculate it, I'll use the theorem of Pythagoras. So I'll say x squared plus y squared is equals to r squared. R is always positive. Hypotenuse is always positive regardless of quadrant. Okay, so my x value here, but since our angle is less than 90, which means our triangle will be on the first quadrant because that's where everything is positive. Okay, so our x value here, it's p, so I'll say p square plus, I don't know y value, but I know r value, which is 1 square. Yes, you can put this in brackets for in case sometimes if you get a negative value. Okay, so but if we break this bracket, will remain with the same thing, but here it will be just 1 because 1 squared is 1. Okay, but I'm looking for the value of y. Remember, I'm looking for the value of y, so I will have to say, okay, I will leave y this side, but I will take p to the opposite side. So I'll have to say, okay, p here, it was positive. Remember, it doesn't have a negative sign, so it was positive. So when I take it to the left hand side, it will be negative. So it will be negative p squared. Okay, but I'm not looking for y squared. I'm looking for the value of y. So I have to divide. No, I have to square both sides by. I have to square both sides. So when I square both sides here, I'll have plus or minus. Okay. So when I conclude, I will say my y value now, it will be positive. Why? Because this will be on the first quadrant, because we are given this and they didn't say anything about angles, like this will be between this and that, those type of question. There we are just given cos 20 degrees equals to p. So here my y will be positive, so it will be this. You don't break that p, because I realize some student, when they see p square and you square both sides, they want to remove this 2. No, don't do that. Don't do that mistake. One single mistake, everything will be wrong on your questions. Okay, so I'm going to draw it right now. So if I draw it, I will use that sketch to answer my following questions. Okay, so let me draw it. So when I draw it, remember it will be on this quadrant. So I'll draw it like this, and here I have 20 degree. You don't have marks for drawing unless they tell you to draw, but even if they didn't tell you to draw it, even if it's not on your question paper, if it is not on your answer sheet, but draw it on maybe question paper or scribble if you are given a scribble. Okay, so my value of y, remember y is this part, so y is equals to 1 minus p square. My x is p, and my r, which is my hypotenuse, it's 1. You see, so once I have these values, I can answer my following questions. Okay, so the first question says we should, without using a calculator, write each of the following in terms of p. Then 5.2.1. Okay, 5.2.1. Let me check if it is feasible. We have cos 200 degree. Okay, so remember now the cos table. Okay, so on my other side, let me do this. Remember the cos table. here it's 0, 90, 180, 270, 360. And here we have 180 minus 180 plus 360 minus 90 minus. Okay, so that 200 degree is between 180 and 270, which means it's somewhere this side, which means I can use 180 plus. Okay, don't use 270 anyway because they no longer accept it. So now, so I want to show you why I used 180 plus, because 200 degrees between 180 and 270, you see. So I'll use 180. Okay, so right now I'll say okay, or let me start well at the bottom. So let me say 5.2.1, and I have cos 200. So I will say cos 180 plus 20 degree. Okay, so remember, on that quadrant only tan is positive, so cos is, which means it's negative, so we'll have negative cos 20 degree, and our cos 20 degree is p. So here I will have negative, then in brackets I have p, and negative here is the same as 1, so it is like negative multiplied by positive p, which is negative p. So my final answer is negative p. So I did it in terms of p, you see, right? So 5.2.2. 5.2.2. Okay, so the first one was 2 marks. This one is also 2 marks. So this one we are given sine negative 70 degrees inside the bracket. Okay, so the first step that we have to do is to write this in a simple form, because when it is like this, it is not in a simple form, so we have to write it like this. It stays negative because where, remember, like I said, for cos negative, any negative, for cos it is negative. For, actually, let me say this, remember reciprocals. So okay, let me write it down so that somebody out there will understand what we are talking about. Okay, so but let me say cos negative alpha is positive cos, but sine negative is negative sine, tan negative is negative tan. These are reciprocals. That's what you should know. But if here it was cos, it was going to be a positive cos. Okay, so that's what I mean. So yeah, so here I was just showing you, it's not part of this, but I was showing you why I said this is positive, this is negative. Okay, so the next step we'll have to say, okay, since here we have 70 and 70 is between these two, 0 and 90, so here I will use 90 minus, you see, right? So here I'll have to say negative sine 90 minus 20 because it gives me 70. Okay, so since here now I used 90, my sign will change to cos, and when it changed to cos now we will have negative. Remember here it's negative, but when this part, let me look for my pencil again. When this part change, this part, it will be positive cos. Okay, so let me put my next step in bracket. So we'll have positive cos 20. Okay, so when I have positive cos 20, I'll have to multiply it with this negative because this negative will have an effect on that bracket. So my final answer will be negative cos 20 degree. Actually, this is not the final answer. They said in terms of p. And remember, our cos p, our p is, our cos 20 is p. So where you see cos this, I have to write p because cos 20 degree, it's p. So my final answer now will be negative p. I show every calculation so that you can understand and don't make silly mistakes, especially when it comes to science, because some students write the correct values but signs are wrong, so everything will be wrong. Okay, so be careful when you deal with this type of a question. Okay, so let's check number 5.2.3. Okay, so 5.2.3, let's move 5.2.3. It says we are given sine 10 degree. Okay, so this time now, and remember we said cos 20 degree is equals to p. That is what we are given. But this time now, you should also remember special angles. Special angles is 0, 30, 45, 60, and 90. So they are also useful. Okay, because here you can say 90 minus 10, because we should have something that will have like 20, like cos 20, tan 20, cos 20, something 20, because we are given cos 20. You get it? So now here we can use towel angle, or is it compound angle? Yeah, so those type of angles. So here we'll use special angles. So our special angle is 30, 45, 60. So but in this case we can use 30. So if we say 30 minus 20, it gives us 10. You see? So this is why I said we should use a special angle. So when we do this question, remember, if it's sine, which means this sign won't change, but if it was cos, our sign will change. I know you did this question. I know you did this type of a question, but you should be careful when you substitute. Okay, so Remember, for cos, it will be cos, cos, sine, sine. But this time is sine, cos, cos, sine. Okay? So, here we'll have sine 30, cos 20. Like I said, our sign won't change. So, we'll say minus cos 30, sine 20. Okay? So, watch, listen, and listen careful, because you should take all these marks. You should take them all. Okay? Because this one is 3 marks. The previous ones were 2 marks. So, like I said, 30 is a special angle. 30 is a special angle. So, you can press on your calculator and test the value and see the value of sine 30. It's half, which is 1 over 2. I put this in bracket because that means multiply. So I don't want to make confusion. So I better make brackets. So you see. But cos 30, remember, cos 20, cos 20. We are given cos 20 as P. So I'll have to substitute P. Remember, I'm solving this in terms of P. Okay? So, here I have minus. 30 is a special angle. So, press on your calculator and press 30 cos 30, which is, so I prefer to put it in brackets, even this one. So, I'll write it like this. You see? But we have sine 20. So, since then we are given cos 20 as P, we can go to our diagram and see if we can. Okay, I wrote another sketch here, but they are the same, you see. So for cos, remember, it's cos. For sine, remember, it's sine 20, and sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So opposite is this sine, hypotenuse is this sine. So this divided by 1 is the same thing, because any number divided by 1 is the same number, remember. Okay, so let's go to our question again. So which means here I'll have to write square root of 1 minus P square, then I close my bracket. Okay, so you should be careful when you substitute. Make sure you substitute correctly. Feel me? Make sure you substitute correctly. So this time now, I will have to multiply these 2 brackets, and I have to multiply these 2 brackets. So 1 over 2 multiplied by P, it's 1 over 2P. Okay, so right now I will have to write 1 over 2P. And even this side, I will have to multiply this bracket with this bracket. Okay, so now let's see. Let me see. This one, I don't think we have to change it. I don't think so. We don't have to. So it will remain like this, but here put dots to show that you multiply. So yeah, leave your final answer like this. So because after this you can't do anything. You can't do anything honestly. So yeah, leave it like this. So this is your final answer. You did it in terms of P. Then you get your marks. And so far we collected 5 marks from the first one, then two, 3. So it's 12 marks. Okay. So yeah, we'll continue. I'll do another part on the next video. Thank you.